In the previous session, we had discussion regarding the FIR and IR filters, in which we discussed one example also with respect to that. So this is the discussion what we had in previous session. So we had discussed all these things. What is meant by IR filter? Why it is called IR filter? What happens when you want to design the filter? And what all things it is dependent on. The output is dependent on present input, past inputs, and the past outputs. So because it is dependent on the past output, we term it to be recursive, and infinite number of impulse response samples will be present in IR filter, and they generally don't have linear phase response that we had seen or observed in FIR filter. Then transfer function is defined with h of z, with the numerator when equated to 0 will be giving you zeros, and when denominator is equated to 0 it will be giving you the pole locations. So from that we can estimate the overall response of the system. So this discussion we had done. So we had discussed what the stability of the IR filter depends on. It depends on number of coefficients and what are the values of the coefficients which are required. So apart from nonlinear phase response, it provides group delay which is not constant. It provides a group delay which is not constant. In FIR filter, we had seen an example in which the group delay was half, so which is constant for the entire range. So what are the advantages of IR filters and what are the disadvantages? So these all things we had discussed in the previous session. So moving forward, and we had discussed regarding this problem. How do I identify that this is related to IIR? If you just observe, this is the current output, which is dependent on say present input and one past past output. So it is dependent on past output and the present input. So since past output dependency comes over here, this equation represents the IIR response. So and when you apply Z transform to this equation and obtain the ratio y of z by x of z, you will be getting h of z. You will be getting h of z. So this is how h of z is obtained in this case. And if I want to know what is, if I know the z transform of a given sequence, I can obtain its frequency response by substituting z is equal to e raised to j theta. By substituting this, I'll be able to get to know what is the overall frequency response. Now, once you know what is the frequency response, you can identify what is its magnitude and what is its angle. So these are all basic things what you can just try to see how it can be obtained. So, and this is the block diagram representation of the previous equation, where 0.1 times x of n, that's the present sequence, and 0.9 times y of n minus 1. When I add both, I'll be getting the overall output. And if I want y of n minus 1, I have to pass this output through a unit delay. Say it might be a z in z raised to minus 1 for 1 unit delay. And another observation which we could see is this response. It is not a straight line. It is not a straight line. It is in this form, so which implies that the phase response is non-linear. It implies that the phase response is non-linear. We had discussed even how IR filter design takes place. These are the two techniques in which first one is the analog filter design technique, in which you design the filter based on the analog techniques which are present. So you build the analog filter first, and then you convert that analog filter to digital filter. So yesterday I specified that what you do is you obtain the filter in terms of analog, you obtain this h of s, and then you transform this say into h of z, that is s to z domain. S is used for analog domain and z is used for digital domain. So you try to convert from analog to digital domain. So these were the discussions what we had done. And another one is direct design, which is based on the least square. One example is Eulevok design method. So let us go further. So wherein we'll start with the discussion of decimation and interpolation. So in DSP, you have used this invariably in implementing a few of the DSP concepts. So when you want to identify, say for example, the transformation, say for Fourier transform. If the signal in the signal you might have decimated the signal or you might have interpolated the signal with few of the values. So the same thing comes over here, wherein we'll be just having the discussion. They are basically why decimation or interpolation comes into existence is we have to adjust the sampling rate. We have to adjust the sampling rate. For that purpose, we go in for decimation or interpolation. But one thing to remember is, or keep in mind is, whenever we are decimating or interpolating, we see to it that since we are dealing with sampling rate, we see that the sampling condition or the Nyquist criterion is still satisfied. Even if you're introducing a more number of samples or you're reducing the number of samples, you're trying to take care that Nyquist criterion is satisfied. That is, Fs is greater than equal to 2 times Fm. You're trying to satisfy this. You're not trying to overcome this. You try to satisfy this condition. Or else what happens is there may be a loss of signal at the receiving end, which will create problem. So decimation and interpolation are basically used to change the sampling rate of a given sequence. Now, what does decimation imply? Decimation basically implies you drop few of the samples from the sequence. You try to drop few of the samples from the sequence. But when you're dropping also, what you are doing is you are taking care that you are not violating the sampling theorem or the Nyquist criteria. That is what I wrote in the previous case. You are trying to adjust to this. So you're dropping few of the samples, but at the same time, you're taking care that Nyquist criterion or sampling theorem is satisfied. Now here, since we are dropping the samples, so I have a sequence x of n. I have a sequence x of n, which is having n number of samples. Now, if I want to decimate this, I'll be removing a few of the samples based on some criteria. So when I'm doing this, what is happening is I'm basically trying to decrease the sampling rate of the sequence. I'm trying to decrease the sampling rate of the sequence. Now, what does interpolation imply? Interpolation is the opposite of decimation, in which what you do is you introduce extra samples into the sequence which is present. But at the same time, you are taking care that again sampling theorem is satisfied. So interpolation basically involves inserting samples with some appropriate considerations or appropriate care has to be taken. Directly, I cannot put in any number of sequences in between. So based on some condition, I'll be doing it. So I try to, in interpolation, we try to insert samples with appropriate consideration. And we see to it that sampling theorem is still satisfied. Now here, what you're doing is you are increasing the number of samples which are present. So if you're increasing the number of samples, you are basically increasing the sampling rate. Now here, when I'm speaking of decimation, you are decreasing the sampling rate. Here you are increasing the sampling rate. So if I just take any sequence, it is just an example of what I'm just considering. If I just take a sequence, say I have got some samples with these voltage levels, just for simplicity. So it is satisfying sampling theorem. So it is, say I'll specify that it is satisfying in one period. in one period, right? In a given time period, I am having these samples, which are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'll assume that it is Fs is equal to 2 times Fm, that is critical sampling or uniform sampling, and I have got these 4 samples. Now, if I try to decimate this sequence, what would happen is, say I'll be retaining the every second sample, and every third sample I'll be leaving out. So I'll be keeping this I'll be neglecting, I'll be keeping this I'll be neglecting. So if I do that, I'll get only these 2 samples. But what happens is, in a given time period, if you're just taking 2 samples, what is happening is this condition is failing. So that is what we try to imply. So even if we are decimating, we should take care that the condition is still satisfied. This condition has to be still satisfied. So we have to take care when we are doing such processes. But interpolation, what is happening is, since we put in more number of samples, say I'll interpolate with the nearest neighbor. Say neighbor is 1. So next 2, next neighbor is 2. So something of this kind. So here what is happening is, I have more number of samples in a given time period. So here in this case I have 8. Here I had 4. So this was critical sampling. But since here, if you just observe, I am having more than 4 samples, so which is naturally satisfying the sampling theorem. So when we are decimating or interpolating, we should take care that the sampling condition or the Nyquist criterion is satisfied. Now here, appropriate condition, as I mentioned, that say I might interpolate with respect to nearest neighbor, or I might take the average of the 2 neighbors. So in the previous case, I had samples 1, 2, 3, and 4. Suppose if I do it as the nearest neighbors, so I'll take the neighbor to the left. So that is, for example, these are the signals, original sample points. Now in between, I want to introduce the extra samples. I want to introduce the extra sample. So what I'll do is, nearest neighbor I can choose. So one is the neighbor to the left I'll be choosing. So 1. So neighbor to this left is 2. Neighbor to this one is 3. Neighbor to this one is 4. So this is nearest neighbor. So I have considered in that form. I can have another consideration. What I can do is, I can take average of these 2. So when I take average of these 2, it turns out to be 1.5. When I take average of these 2, it turns out to be 2.5. When I take average of these 2, it turns out to be 3.5. But here I have last this thing, so I'll take it as 4 plus 0. If that is the case, it will be 4, or it will be 2, depending on how you are. It will be 2, depending on how you are interpolating. So these are the considerations what you put in. These are the considerations what you look after. So let us come to a decimation process. What is the decimation factor? It is the factor by which the signal is decimated. You tell that signal has to be decimated by 2, or it has to be decimated by 3. So what does that imply? So that is what we'll be looking after in this case. So here, what happens is, the IO relation for the decimation of a signal by an integer factor of m will be considered. So when we consider that, this is how it turns out to be. So if I just check out the IO relation, and I'm considering the integer factor of m. So I have a signal y of m, and I want to reduce the number of samples. So I want to decimate. How do I decimate? I take the samples in this form. That is, I from the overall output, what I do is, I consider w of m into m. So in this case, what happens is, if I just put it in the other form. So if I just observe, if m is equal to 0, what happens? If capital M is, if capital M is present, say M will consider as, if I consider it as 1, then it will be equivalent to the same signal. So if I consider it to be 2, so what would happen is, this lowercase m, in lowercase m, if this is m, m is equal to 0, this m into capital M would be turning out to be 0. Then if this is 1, this would turn out to be 2. If this is 2, this would turn out to be 4. So what is this implying? it is implying that if you just put it to so what would be W of 0? It would be the zeroth sample of y of m. It would be a zeroth sample of this signal. Sorry, what is y of m? Sorry, it is what is y of m? Y of m will be equal to the sample which is present at W of 0. Then what is y of 1? It is the sample which is present at second location. So here you can see that W of 1 is removed, decimated. It is decimated. So similarly, if I go for W of 2, it will be, sorry, Y of 2, it will be 4. So here we can see that W of 3 has been decimated. So this is how we obtain the overall decimation result. So if I just represent it in a simple form, this is how a decimated signal will be represented. Now here what is happening is, if you just look at this equation, if I want the sequence W of n, it will be the summation from minus infinity to infinity with the coefficients of bk multiplied with x of n minus k. So these are the samples of x of n minus n. These are the samples of x of n from minus infinity to infinity multiplied with some coefficient factor. Now these samples are represented with W of n. So this is a signal which I have got. Now I have to decimate this signal. If I have to decimate this signal, then this is the equation what I use in order to decimate it. So here if you just observe, if I want a decimated signal y of n, I consider a multiplication factor capital M, integer factor which is capital M. Then I obtain the samples of the decimated sequence. So as I showed, y of 0 will be W of 0, y of 1 will be W of 2 if I'm considering M is equal to 2. So in this way, it changes. So what is happening is I am decimating the samples over there. So with the help of this equation, we can just check out one problem with the one problem. So whenever I do the decimation process, right, before going ahead. So here what is happening is, if you just observe in this case, you have, you want a decimated sequence, but what you're doing is you are removing few of the samples. You are discarding few of the samples. So discarding is nothing related to downsampling. So you have sampled the signal x of n, and you have sampled this and you have obtained some parameters for this. Now when you downsample this signal, you will be getting the overall signal y of n what we are representing. So here, since we are removing few of the samples, what we are doing is we are actually downsampling it. We are actually downsampling it. Now here, one thing to just remember is this equation W of n. So this is nothing but your overall response, what you had seen. That is a digital filter response. So W of n is dependent only on the present input and the past input values. So this is a kind of FIR representation what you have. This is a kind of FIR representation what you have. So you, in this case, if you just see, I have three signals. I have X of n, then I have Y of n, and lastly, for example, I'll be having the overall result Y of n. So this X of n is the result of sampling. X of n is a result of sampling. So let me specify X of the continuous signal. It is sampled. So when you sample the continuous signal, I'll be getting these samples. So sampling is done keeping in mind that Nyquist criterion is satisfied. Now, once I get this sequence right, if I want to pass it through a filter, I'll be passing it through a digital filter since this is a discrete sequence what I have obtained. So I'll pass it through a digital filter. So that is what this equation represents. This is the filter. That is the coefficient bk gives you the filter response. So this is the filtering response. Once you get the filtered sequence, you can decimate this entire filtered sequence. You can decimate the filtered sequence. That is your downsample this filtered sequence. You'll be getting the overall y of n which is present over here. So when I represent it in this form, right? So if you just see here, what is happening? I have the sampled information. I have the sampled information. So x of t was present. That is passed through sampling unit. I'll be getting this x of n. So this x of n is sampled at a frequency f of s. That is sampling frequency. Now what I do is I pass it through a digital low pass filter. That is, I try to identify the coefficients and build this filter. So that is the summation equation what you have, x of n minus k. So this will be giving you the overall sequences of the filtered value. So W of n is the filtered version of x of n. It is a filtered version of x of n. Now here if you just see the samples which are present over here, number of samples which are present in x of n and number of samples which are present in y of n will be same. Therefore, the sampling frequency mentioned over here also will be still same. There is, I will not be changing any number of samples over here. Samples will be retained as retained number of samples. If there are 10 samples in x of n, there will be 10 samples in y of n in the filtered sequence. So that is what it represents. Now, once you have the filtered sequence, right, W of n, now what I want to do is I want to do the decimation process. So when I want to do the decimation process, I get rid of few of the samples. Say some samples are present. I want to get rid of few of the samples. So based on the factor m, based on the factor m, you will be deciding how many samples will be present at the output. So W of n has to be passed through a downsampler and you will be getting a decimated sequence y of m in this case. Y of m in this case. Now if you just observe here, the number of samples which will be present here. So previously it was 4. Previously here samples were 4 and I had taken a decimation factor of 2. So here, since I had 4, this thing, if I just observe if I discard every alternate sample, I'll be having only 2 samples. So what is happening? The sampling frequency gets divided by half. Fs gets divided by half. So if one particular sampling frequency is giving you 4 samples, and if you divide this frequency, what happens is it will almost reduce the number of sequence to half in this case. It will reduce to half. So that is what is presented here, Fs divided by m. So those many samples will be, only those many samples will be present over there. So 2 samples are present, 2 samples are removed. So that is what it intends. So here we can observe one example. So we have a given sequence x of n, which is in this form, 3, 2, 2, 4. So these are the samples which are present. Now, what it specifies is it has to be decimated by a factor of 2. So this is nothing but capital M, which is equal to 2. So this is the sequence what you have obtained, and you should decimate this overall sequence with the factor of M is equal to 2. Now, here we'll just assume that after we filter this x of n, so I pass it through the filter. After I pass the x of n through the digital low pass filter, I'll be getting the filtered sequence which is represented here. So if I just check how many samples are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 12 samples here. There are 12 samples here. So let us check here. There should be 12 samples here also. I'll just cross verify. So there is some typo error over here in this one. So there should be 12 samples here also, or else what is assumed is, if you just observe questions over here. So here we have filtered the overall sequence. So once we filter this, right, once we filter this equation, these are the samples of the filtered output. These are the filtered output results. Now what we do is we have to consider the factor m. So m is equal to 2. So I have to apply the decimation factor on this. So what does this imply is you retain every second sample from the filtered sequence. That is what it implies. You retain every second sample of the filtered sequence. So here if I just observe, if I start from here, the every second sample is 2, then next sample is 1.5, next is 2.9, next is minus 1 point this thing, and so these are the samples what we'll be getting over here. So this is the overall decimated sequence. So here filter design is not given. So this is an assumption that it has been passed through the filter, and this is the sequence what you have obtained. This is the sequence what you have obtained. So this filtered sequence will be decimated. That is what is happening in this case. So let us go for next this thing, which is interpolation. So interpolation will be interpolation is nothing but inserting samples into the existing sequence. Thereby, what you're doing is you are increasing the sampling rate. So interpolation will be dependent on a factor which we term as interpolation factor. It is a factor by which the signal will be interpolated. Now again, the IO relation for this interpolation with respect to an integer factor L, in this case, since we are increasing. So if you just see in the previous case, what had happened here, if I just observe, we had got a filtered sequence, and this case here, if you just observe, it is multiplication which is happening. So when you multiply with one particular weightage, right, that is capital M in this case, what happens is you are decimating. But when you divide the same thing with some factor L, so what would happen is I'll be increasing the number of samples which will be available. So if you just observe, so this is the equation what is used to represent the overall sequence. Now here, first thing to remember, I have a signal x of t. I'll sample this. When I sample this, what will happen is I'll be getting some samples over there. Now what I do is I do the reverse as considered to decimation. In decimation, what we had done, in decimation, we took this sampled signal, we passed it through a filter and then obtained the decimated sequence. But now we do not do it in this form. We do it the other way. We have got the sequences, we interpolate. We interpolate the sequence. So once we interpolate the sequence, what will happen is we'll be getting a sequence W of M or W of N. And once we get this sequence right, we pass it through the filter and we'll be getting the overall result, which is the interpolated signal. So in decimation, first I pass it through the filter. This is in case of decimation, I pass it through the filter and then decimate it. Whereas in interpolation, first I interpolate it and then pass it through a filter. So that is what we do here. So here, once I get a sequence x of n, right, I have to obtain w of n, which is nothing but the interpolated version of x of n. So here you can just observe what happens over in this case. So this will be the interpolating signal. So if I just consider lowercase m value, and if I consider L is equal to 2, if I consider L is equal to 2. So if m is 0, if I just see, what will be m by l? M by l is also 0. If m is 1, it is 1 by 2. I don't have any 0.5 for sequence representation. Say I might represent it with the 0 or the next one. Next I have 2. So 2 by 2 is 1. Next I have 3. So 3 by 3 will be 1. So m by l will be having these values. So if I just check out, w of 0 will be equal to x of 0. Then next w of 1 will be equal to x of 0. W of 2, that is when m is equal to 2, it will be equal to 1. And w of 3 will be again equal to 1, and this will continue. So here you can see that you are adding extra parameters over here. You are adding extra sequences over here. And after this, what you do is you pass it through the filter. So if you just see, this is the filter equation where bk is the coefficient, and it is from minus infinity to infinity. It is from minus infinity to infinity. Bk are the coefficients, and w of m becomes the input to the filter. And so this is the overall interpolated sequence what you will be getting. If I represent it in block diagram, so this is how it is represented. So here it is, x of t is there. I pass it through the sampling unit. So I'll be getting the samples x of n. So sampling frequency is f of s. So once this samples are obtained, I upsample it. Sometimes it is represented just with the arrow in some of the blocks. So this is interpolation, and that is upsampling. And for downsampling, it is represented like this. In some of the books or representations, this is how it appears. So I upsample it. That is what I'm doing is w of m is equal to x of m by l. That is what we saw. We are inserting samples, more number of samples based on the interpolation factor L. So once I get the interpolated sequence, I pass it through a digital filter, and I'll be getting the filtered sequence, which is the interpolated sequence at the end. Now here, if you just see, you are increasing the sampling rate. Whereas previous case, what you are doing, you are taking fs by m, you are decreasing the sampling rate. But here what you're doing is you are increasing the number of samples, thereby increasing the sampling rate indirectly. So if you just have a look at the example, the interpolation. So here I have a sequence x of n, which is given by these values. Now it has to be interpolated with a factor of 3. With a factor of 3. So after inserting zeros to the increase the sampling rate, we get the sequence. So here, if you just again, what you do is, since it is 3, you try to estimate W of m. W of m is equal to, sorry, x of m by l. You try to obtain it from this equation. So if zeroth sample, it will be equal to x of 0. For the w of 1, it will be equivalent to, this is x of 0, still it is equal to x of 0. For w of 2, it is still equal to x of 0. W of 3, it is equal to the first sample, x of 1. 4, it is the first sample. Or it is the first sample. 5, it is the first sample. So there are different approaches what we follow. There are different approaches what we follow. So in some cases, that is as I specified, I put the nearest neighbor, or I take the average. And in some cases, what we do is we put zeros in between. Instead of, we'll not bother what are the neighbors, just directly we'll be putting the zeros. So if the sequence is like this and I want to increase the number of samples, so what I do is I just insert zeros here. So this actually gives rise to something called as checker box effect. So we generally try to avoid such kind of sequences. So here, so this is how I can obtain the overall sequence. So W of n, I have zeros. So he has specified that we'll be inserting zeros at those locations. So he has mentioned here. Therefore, we are taking zeros. If this was not mentioned and you want to continue, then what you can do is you can keep the neighbors. So previous this thing what I showed was it is based on the neighbors. So here what I do is inserting zeros, right? X of 0 will be here, X of this one. So this, if I just observe, it is at the 0th location. This one will be X of 1. This one will be X of 1. But these two are the extra samples. These two are the extra samples. So here, if I just observe this location, right? This location would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the sequence m is equal to 6. So when m is equal to 6, what would happen? 6 divided by 3, which would be 2. That is the sample what is present at second location. Therefore, we have the value as 6 represented here. So similarly, again, two zeros are inserted and the next sample comes over here, again two zeros, and the next sample comes over here. So here he has interpolated by inserting zeros. He hasn't taken the nearest neighbors, he has inserted zeros directly here. But still you are using the equation x of m by L. So this is how it is done. So next, after I get this, I pass it through the low pass filter whose coefficients are given in this form. So it is like B0, B1, B2, B3, B4, and I keep on repeating. So we get this interpolated sequence that is based on the equation. So if I want y of m, right, I have to take the summation from minus infinity to infinity, coefficient of this one multiplied with this. So since remaining coefficients are 0, so the rest of the coefficients I can specify it to be 0 over there. So if I have to get say y of 0, right? If I have to get y of 0, I take b naught into x of minus k plus so on. So then I'll be getting this overall sequence. So here if you just observe what has happened is here we have inserted zeros. Here we have inserted zeros. Now what we are doing is we are replacing these zeros based on the coefficient bk, that is after passing it through the filters. So this is the first sample, this is the second sample of x of n, the third sample is here, fourth sample, and the fifth sample. Now here you can see what has happened. So this is, I think it is a linear interpolation what we are doing. So these are the samples what we get. So those zeroth locations are replaced with help of this equation what we have seen. So this is with respect to interpolation. So let us wind up here. Thank you.